All right, what's up, guys? It's me. It's that ERIC, and I was time to bring back the late debate. So that's what's going on. Everyone knows me. I'm EBar, the People's co-host, Eric Barnes, and today I'm being joined by a member of the crew that I don't think has appeared on my channel before. Hey guys, it's Tony H. What's up, dude?
Hey, everybody. What's good, man? I know some people who have seen me on Noah's show are going, what the hell happened to your hair? Did you lose a bet? But no, I had to brush it up.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. I mean, I was going to call out your haircut, but too late now, I guess, bro. Too late now.
No.
But, so, yeah, you know Tony as the former chairman of the Noah Maniacs. Was that your official title?
It was, and that channel is MIA, and we'll figure out whenever it comes back. But yes, I'm the former chairman.
Yeah, and also, I don't know, it's Noah. He'll be back. But anyway, so late debate is back. We didn't really choose, on the old late debates, we kind of chose a topic that was from the comments. But it's been so long since the last one, so we kind of just came up with one for this week. But as for the ones in the future, go ahead and leave topics in the comments, and we might choose it. But anyway, let us know. Tony H himself thought this one up. So what do you got for us, ma'am?
All right, so this is pretty much the debate going forward here. Is we look back at Undertaker's career, okay? And he's had a hell of a career, arguably the greatest WWE wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think all the 2000s, I apologize, but it was Biker Taker. I mean, who the hell is this guy? And it's just him coming out in his little biker gimmick and his American Badass, this is my yard. So in 2003, he lost to Mr. McMahon. And it was a buried alive match, and he was officially gone. Most people like myself are like, when is he coming back? And he came back to fight Kane at WrestleMania 20 in his old gimmick. So a lot of people were assuming, well, maybe this is just him doing one last off with the match and ended up being around forever with that gimmick. Today's late debate is simply, what if he actually beat Mr. McMahon and kept the gimmick?
Okay, so if Biker Taker had never switched back to Undertaker, pretty much.
Yes, go back to the Demon Undertaker, or the Demon Taker that he's been known to be for many years. What if he kept the Biker Taker? What if he beat Mr. McMahon? Yeah,
and I think that's interesting because here recently I've been watching a lot of SmackDown from 2002, which was, it wasn't the beginning of Biker Undertaker, but, he was in his prime. And the thing is, like, as the Biker Undertaker, he never really lost a step. It never really, like, became stale, in my opinion. He was still the Undertaker, and so he was still incredibly over, even whenever his gimmick had changed so drastically. I think it was a necessary change for the time, just at the Attitude Era. Like, they had pretty much gotten rid of all of the cartoony type gimmicks, but that Undertaker, the Demon Taker, whatever you want to call him, the dark one that has all the powers, that's kind of a timeless gimmick. But if he hadn't switched back, and, like, let's say he was going to come back and fight Kane, because it was basically Kane's fault that he lost to Vince.
Yes.
So if he's going to come back and fight Kane, he didn't appear back at all until WrestleMania 20, to my knowledge. He creeped Kane out. But what would the lead up have been to that match if he was still Biker Taker?
So here's what I'm thinking, and I've been watching some stuff from that era as well. Very good stuff, by the way. If you own the network, I insist you go back and watch it. But
definitely.
I think what really would be interesting is if he came and fought Undertaker as Biker Taker, it would be a little awkward, I admit. However, at the Royal Rumble, he had his music hit and had Kane freaked out, and everybody thought, oh, here comes Undertaker. But then that's how he messed with them all the way up until WrestleMania 20. If Biker Taker would have won, I honestly don't think he would have fought Kane. I would have picked a different opponent for him. If that is a possibility, I would say that's the one thing I would say is if it were up to me, and this is where the debate comes in, I would have had Undertaker versus Goldberg.
Okay, you would have went with Undertaker versus Goldberg at WrestleMania 20. It would have saved us a stinker of a match of Lesnar versus Goldberg. That's for sure. There's no way it could have been that bad. Undertaker would not have let it, in my opinion.
No, he wouldn't have. And again, that's the thing is that people can look back on it and say, well, Lesnar lost the belt because he was on his way out, and he was, and he let Eddie Guerrero win at No Way Out, which was a phenomenal match. But again, imagine that moment at WrestleMania. Now, I agree, Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero was fantastic. But if Eddie would have beaten Brock in that caliber match at WrestleMania 20, I think it would have impacted it a little bit more. And with Goldberg versus Biker Taker had a personality to him. And to me, if he would have fought Goldberg at 20, I think it would have been a lot better of a match. I would have put Austin as the ref. I still would have kept Austin as a special guest referee because of the past that he had with Undertaker and with Goldberg kind of having that, MO with him and never really having that match, which is a disaster. But it would have made for something interesting. And to be honest with you, if that would have happened, I think more people would have been happy compared to Demon Undertaker coming back to face Kane, and which was, I remember it being kind of a squash match, maybe something with a little bit of offense for Kane, but nothing really that spectacular. And to me, I would have ran with the Biker Taker gimmick probably for another couple of years. Now, would I've seen Demon Taker eventually come back? Yes, absolutely. But I think that should have been his final match as the Dead Man Undertaker. If you had that be his official last match, I'd have been okay with it. But because he ran the gimmick to the ground, I think it's a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying there. As far as Goldberg versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 20, that would have felt like such a huge match. Even compared to Brock versus Goldberg, even though that had never happened before. I think during that period of time, seeing as Goldberg had been there for about a year and he was on his way out, it would have been perfect. It would have been a perfect way for Goldberg to go out, and that way he lost to a legend rather than ending this match with Brock Lesnar and still getting Stone Cold Stunnered. Like, who cares? They had a horrible match, but I don't know if I would have pushed Brock versus Eddie to WrestleMania, only because on that night, I think that they were wanting that special moment for Chris Benoit, or who shall not be named.
Well, history just proved that might not have been a smart choice, but you're right. You're right. I totally get that. And it's so hard because that triple threat was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
I just feel that if you would have had Brock versus Eddie, that's WrestleMania caliber.
It is.
The fact that they could have had both of them title matches be like 5-star matches, for example. And I'm not knocking Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero because I thought that was a very, very good match. It was very good.
I'd agree.
But Eddie was on fire up until that point, and Eddie was like spectacular on SmackDown. He did a lot of like gimmicks that were funny. He was really charismatic, as we all know. And if you had him have that WrestleMania moment, I just think that, yes, him retaining it WrestleMania 20 would have been fine like it was. But, man, if you'd have beaten Eddie at 20, Jesus, the roof would have blown off.
That's true. And as much as I enjoyed the triple threat match in the main event, Brock versus Eddie could have been a main event.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, as for the Undertaker, I think that whenever he's switched back, I think I'm not so sure Undertaker was losing steam up to that point, but maybe they were afraid that that is what was going to happen with the biker gimmick. It's a good gimmick, it's a strong gimmick, and the man behind the gimmick, Mark Calloway, is good enough that it really wouldn't have mattered so much. But I think You know, the original Undertaker character had been gone for a few years at this point. People were already hungry for it, and this is kind of when WWE still wanted occasionally to give people what they actually wanted. So I think that, like you said, they could have gone a couple of more years probably with the biker gimmick, but I don't think it would have had legs enough to make Undertaker continuously an interesting character all the way up until this era, especially just with how we've seen them drop the ball with, you know, superstar after superstar after superstar. I feel like him switching back probably made him pretty much invulnerable to them fucking up. Because, I mean, come on, the dude was feuding with people like Heidenreich and Great Khali, and he was still incredibly over. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that it was a good decision, but I still think that the biker gimmick probably did still have some legs. I don't know for how long exactly, but
and that's extremely fair. But now, let me see if you guys can remember this. I know if you or the people in the comments can remember. Do you remember after WrestleMania 27, Undertaker was carried out by his like urns after him and Triple H's first match?
Right.
So then he had to, quote, cut his hair and have a different approach to come back and face him for that the Legend match at 28 when it was him and Triple H with Shawn as the referee, Hell in a Cell. The end of an era.
The end of an era match.
So, you know, of course it wasn't. But imagine if he kept Biker Taker all the way up to 27. He grew his hair out a little bit more. Just say he was Biker Taker a little bit longer hair. Then he got carried out, not even by referees or something. Say he was like done. Oh, this is Taker's done. But then the end of the era match was actually him as the Phenom, the Undertaker, and that was truly his last match in Hell in a Cell, back as the Dead Man, and everybody would have marked the fuck out, and it would have made, I think, a bigger moment for that character, and that would have been the true ending of Undertaker.
I don't hate that, but you know, as you were talking, what I was thinking was, you know, you kind of corrected yourself to say, oh, well, referees carried him out. What if he came into that match as the biker Undertaker, you know, still won but got his ass whooped, and then got carried out by Druids, and then we didn't see him for a long ass time, maybe until the next year. And whenever we finally did, that would have been sick. You know what I mean? Because that would have kept speculation going for that entire time of like, when's he going to come back? How is he going to come back? That could have been interesting too.
No, I totally agree with you. Like, if they would have done that, I would have been pretty curious and going, okay, why are they doing that? And then, yeah, you're right. For the whole year, everybody could speculate, and then Triple H is calling out Undertaker, and then which Undertaker is, and then he could do the whole like thing they did where maybe he did cut off his hair because he, at that point in real life, his hair was getting shorter, and then have that like, what was it, a little like mark on top of his head of hair, which was really weird. Have that Undertaker, and that would be like the end of the era. That would have been sick. I think that would have made the perfect ending, because if you look past 28, okay, Punk at 29, I admit CM Punk helped save that a little bit. His 30 match versus Brock where the streak ended, not a good match. Plus, Taker was concussed. 31 Bray Wyatt, not a really great match. Both were hurt. 32 was I'm hitting a blank right now. Who did he face at 32?
Shane O'Mac.
Shane in Hell in a Cell. Okay match, nothing spectacular. And this match against Roman was nothing great. So what if he ended it at 28? Would people have been pissed he left at 20-0? No.
No. People definitely wouldn't have been angry. He was still able to put on a high caliber level of match at that point. That you know, I mean, you can see it wearing away as the years go on, but you know, he's not in the ring all year. And whenever he does come back, it's usually with somebody that he's never worked with before. I mean, you know, say for like Shawn Michaels and Triple H, but that was pre what you've been talking about.
Right.
And yeah, it probably, honestly, what you're saying probably would have been a great idea, but I don't know. And you know, with all the speculation that he might come back to face Roman again, it's like, it's not necessary. You know what I mean? You kind of had your say. And what if he came back now as the biker Undertaker? I mean, he set all his scary shit down. so he doesn't have those clothes anymore, obviously.
Truly, truly funny if he comes back with like maybe the Hell's Angels fucking taking him to the ring, and there's Taker in the middle just riding and just with him, his little gang and stuff. Oh man, yeah, I wouldn't want to see it right now. I think, and this is me, I don't care if I get bashed for this. If he came back for another match, I'd lose respect for him. At this point, stay retired. Nothing else to prove.
Yeah, I mean, he has nothing left to prove. He's one of the all-time great legends, always will be. Nobody can take that away from him. So, you know, there's no reason to come back. And certainly, I'm sure Vince doesn't want Undertaker coming back and beating his golden boy Roman Reigns. So, I don't really see what the point of it would be. You know, you have him lose in a second loss at WrestleMania. What else do you want from The Undertaker, really? I mean, there's nothing else.
That's exactly it, unless you want him to be part of like Team SmackDown or Team Raw, which, you know, I guess would have been the worst thing in the world because he's barely in the ring. But at this point, just stay retired. Like,
yeah, I mean, at least the ending that he has now at least was iconic in the sense that he took all his stuff off and everything. If you just throw him in a multi-man match, that's not an important enough way for Undertaker to go out.
Hell no. Hell no.
Absolutely. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts on this, Tony?
Well, like I said, the only thought I really will say is that the Biker Taker gimmick itself, while it didn't provide maybe the greatest Undertaker to some people because they really do appreciate what that man, I liked his personality. I liked the fact it was something different. I even liked him as a heel when he dragged Hulk Hogan around in the backstage area. I think it's on a Raw if you want to go ahead and find it.
Oh, yeah, where he's got him hooked up to the motorcycle?
Yeah, and Hogan did his little helmet and dragging around. I saw that Raw a while back, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's a classic moment.
And honestly, he had some good matches. I don't like how WWE just ignores the fact that that era really didn't even exist. It was like a gap of him being gone. It's almost like, okay, yeah, he was Biker Taker, but he was a completely different person when he had some pretty damn good matches. And my favorite Biker Taker match before we go was against Ric Flair at WrestleMania 18. I thought that was an excellent match, good storytelling, and a really, really fun match.
Yeah, that's definitely a good match. And the last one that I actually saw him in was, I think the pay-per-view was No Mercy 2002. It was Hell in a Cell against Brock Lesnar. And it was brutal, man. Like, Undertaker's just gushing blood.
I agree.
In that match. I mean, insanely brutal. I'm not saying that's my favorite match of his during that era, but it just sticks out in my mind because I watched it like 2 days ago. But, yeah, he was still pulling off terrific performances. He wasn't, quote-unquote, the dead man, but he was like Dead Man Inc. Dead Man. So he wasn't exactly The Undertaker, but he still was. That's an important era of The Undertaker. He had a lot of classic rivalries during that time with some people that he didn't before Biker Taker or afterwards. So,
well, yeah,
I don't know.
And you know, and this is real quick. And the only thing is, okay, he stressed "This is my yard" during that era. So when Roman beats him and goes, "It's my yard now," if he did against like a Biker Taker, he'd be like, "Oh shit, makes sense." This Taker, well, okay, it's still his yard. We get the point, but it's not the same.
That's true. That's, you know, at a certain point, I kind of think like The Undertaker nowadays became sort of almost a blend of the two. Like, he still had his powers and all that, but you know, he still kind of had just an attitude whenever it came down to it. I don't know, but his work has always been great, whether he was a biker or just some scary zombies. So it's hard not to love The Undertaker.
Yeah, I got to say, he's an all-time great. I'm not knocking it. And, yeah, I call him Papa Taker near the end because he really sounded like a grandpa who could roll his eyes in the back of his head. Like, I'm going to get you. Like, come on now. Got to go, man. Got to go.
Yeah, sometimes it's just time. Sometimes it's just time.
I agree. It is. It's that time.
But anyway, so that's going to wrap it up for this edition of The Late Debate. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Tony, for helping me to finally bring this series back. And, you know, you'll see Tony. It's with the crew, so who knows who else you could see on this show. But thanks to everybody for watching. Tell us what you thought about the Undertaker's biker gimmick and what if he hadn't switched and all that. And yeah, just let us know, and also let us know if you've got any topics you'd like to hear us talk about, and we'll probably pick one.
Because we're cool like that.
We're pretty cool. So do you got any plugs, Tony?
None at the moment, but when I do have some things established, other than Discord, follow EBar's Discord. It is fun times.
It is fun times. And I'll put the link to the Discord in the description of this video. And so if you haven't clicked subscribe yet, go ahead and do that, please. I'd appreciate it. And follow me on Twitter at EBarSays. So that's it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.